Hey now, okay, these are really just my personal notes for myself in the future to help me remember. However, I'm going to put it out there on my channel just in case somebody out there is able to learn from it as well. Things that I've learned all this time with my welder, MIG welding, I have been using 030 wire. Well, I have improved a little bit, but in further research, just because out of frustration or whatever, I have learned that one of the contributions to the voltage is the diameter of the wire. And since then I've learned that for thin sheet metal, and on this car I've went around measuring a lot of my new Heritage panels, and they're pretty doggone thin. And so I went out, I have some more 22 gauge sheet metal, and for thin metal, it is recommended to use 023 or 024 wire. So I ordered some 023 wire. With the wire, I also ordered some tips, some guides, or whatever you call these things. So I'm going to change out the tip, I'm changing out the wire, and I'm also, because I'm using a small spool, I'm making myself notes on how to feed this, how to properly feed my wire and set the tension on the pressure. So yeah, hope this helps somebody. I imagine most machines are the same. Now I can put a 10-pound spool in here, but I've taken the 10-pound spool guide roller off, and I am going to install just a 4-inch diameter. I think this is a 2-pound, and it's 023. Now the order of assembly is important. And I'm holding, FYI, I'm holding this wire so that it doesn't unravel. But the order of assembly for this is when you put for a 2-pound roller, you put the washer on first, then a spring, then the nut. My directions say that I need to tighten it until there's just a little bit of force. It takes a little force to spin the wheel. Alright, so while I'm holding the wire, because the new wire spool comes, the tip of it is all bent, so I need to cut that off so that it's nice and straight going through the guides. Alright, nice and straight. I'm going to feed it in here. Alright, this bad boy right here is the guide. So I'm going to pull the wire in, feed it in, and then it's coming out here. This roll here is the roll pin, and this particular guide roller has different notches on it. I'll try to get some video of that. But right now, I have it set up, I've reset it up for 024. And basically all I have to do is push that in and spin it until the pin is in the right dial. Alright, let me put it back. Oh, 24. Okay, got it. Trying to feed it into the gun. There we go. Alright, and then basically you lift this. This is the pressure tension on the wire. I'm just going to tighten it down so it holds it. Now my machine says that I should begin with at least 2 to hold it in there. So I'm going to tighten that down to 2. Now that's going to hold it. So now I've got to feed the wire through and make sure it's gripping the wire well enough or accurately. Alright, here's my gun without my 023 tip, and all I'm going to do now is feed the wire through a couple of inches. I feel it. There it is. Okay. So feed it through. Alright, so now I take my 023 tip and feed that onto the line and screw it on. Okay, just hand tight. Alright, so now that's out there. Now I need to put my tip back on. So put that bad boy on there. Okay, now I'm going to trim this down to 3/8. So that's about the right. Now I just need to make sure that the pressure is feeding the wire accurately. Alright, so now the rule is, when I hit the trigger, this should, if the pressure on the wire is accurate, this should roll into about a 2-inch diameter spool. So we'll see how this works. Alright. I would say that that's probably pretty good. I don't need to do anything with the wire tensioner. I mean, that rolls right into, I don't know, I'd say that's 2 inches at least, right? 2 inches. So I'm good there. And by the way, so something I learned about my welding wires, the cutter is on one set of the wire. These guys are roughly 3/8 of an inch thick. And so when you cut it, if you put the flats with the cutter away from the tip, let's see, the cutter is on one side of the pliers of the thickness. And so if you put it away from the tip and you cut your wire, you end up with a roughly 3/8 of an inch exposure, which is what I'm told is good for welding. So that's kind of a nice tip. The other things that I've learned is that these bad boys are fabulous. I have a couple different sizes. They come in different shapes as well. But this is a copper bar. It has magnets in it. It'll hold the steel down, and so when I've been welding, I put the copper bar on the back side of the sheet metal, and it helps tremendously. So definitely recommend these guys if you're learning how to weld. These are good. The other technique, and a lot of people have mentioned this, is I make sure I'm using denatured alcohol, but make sure my steel is clean. Anyhow, I'm not going to bore anymore. Those are just lessons that I've learned for myself to remember down the road. And I'm just going to get back to practicing today. Yeah, ain't it great? Alright, to close this out, I just wanted to show you some differences. This line up here, along the seam of the two panels, that was with 030. And I was getting a little bit better, but then when I would go back and try to fill in between stitches, I was still blowing holes. Now, these down here are with the new wire, the 023, and as you can see, no holes were blown on my first try, and then on the back side, I think there's pretty doggone good penetration. Absolutely. So this is the 023 wire, and for the record, I think I'm definitely going to be pleased with 023 wire. For a classic mini with very thin, 030 to 050 skin thicknesses, 023, 024 wire is the way to go. So, oh, and by the way, note to self too, I set up my machine, it has self-adjusting wire speed and voltage, so I just put it on 024 wire and 20 to 22 gauge wire speed, so for auto set. Anyhow, alright, bye just now.